Whoops, my hand's in the way. Hi, everybody. Still running late, but here. But you're gonna have to hang on a second. The holder for the camera for tonight fell over, so you're gonna be looking at ceiling for a minute. Bear with me. Why did my phone just go ding at me? All right. Now, what did I do wrong that this fell over? Try this again. You know what? I wonder if it'll work on there. No, it won't work on there. Well, what if I put it here? Trying not to have this thing fall over again. Oh, it doesn't want to cooperate. I have to screw this. Am I going the wrong way? I'm going the wrong way. Got to screw this around. Look, it looks like the moon is above my bed, doesn't it? With the way the light glares. Like this giant orb. When I was a little kid, my bed was right underneath a window where the moonlight came in all the time. My mom said I used to scrunch myself down to the end of the bed, and then as the moonlight moved up the bed, I would move up the bed. And I'd do all this in my sleep. Okay, come on, cooperate. Hopefully this time it won't fall over right when I'm starting a live. Come on. Can't get my hand in there. That doesn't help. Okay. All right. Now, this way. Okay. Let's see if we get this to work. Okay. Stretch. Oh, there we go. Am I back to being live again? I'm back to being live again. Sorry about that. Try to get this to where I'm going to be sitting, and it's falling right on over. Darn it. Honestly, technical difficulties all over the place. So, let's get this off of here and let's just work with it. You ever had a day like that? You had everything planned, something comes up. Well, now you got to change your plans, and you got to try to work with it, but it doesn't wanna. How am I going to do this? Ooh, that spring did not like that. Okay. Well, hang on. Okay. Cord for the phone, something to drink. Such is my life. I'm never quite ready. Did the cats? Oh, there's the cord for the heating pad that. Okay. Yes, I am going to sit in my own bed. And we're going to get you straightened out so you're not looking directly at a wall and wondering, what the heck is she doing now? So, hang on. Oops. Oh, my. Welcome to the ADH brain of Nancy Krause. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's just a bit of a mess tonight. Okay, how can I prop this up? I think I know how I can prop this up. If I can get it to sit over top. of the laptop and not be totally crooked. Oh, come on. Here we go. There we go. That's sort of better. It's been a week, babes. It's been a week. So I hope everyone has had a good week. Mine has been a roller coaster that started out awful because of some sad news on our end. I'm going to need to get a hold of the laptop cord so that we can, whoops, so I can see the chat better. And now I'm making you wiggle again. So I was out at my sister's and trying to get out of there. This is fun. Try to put a plug in without looking and without electrocuting yourself. There. Oh, I've turned that little electric oil-filled heater on, but boy, it's beginning to smell goofy. So anyway, I've had a very busy week. I got back on Wednesday, hit the ground running as soon as I got home, dealing with stuff for Scouts that night. Got to Scouts, got that done, came home, had to deal with more stuff for Scouts. And we have a sick cat. Aragorn is sick. He can't see the vet until Monday. And he's sneezing. He's got a runny nose. He's getting gunk in his eyes. Here's why we're very concerned. But we couldn't get an appointment at the vet until Monday. He used to stick his nose. We'd open up the kitchen window about that much and would let him and Tux sniff at each other. Tux would try to open the screen door for the kitchen door, and they would, they would touch paws and sniff each other. But Tux got sick, and we didn't realize Tux was sick right away until he stopped eating. And that was Friday. Like, odd, Tux didn't want to eat. And Mike even tried to get him to eat. He didn't really want to eat. So Mike stayed home and then left for a Scout thing the next day because he had work to do for council, and then go to the Scout trip. And Tux didn't eat bread. I had to kind of spoon feed it to get him to eat breakfast. He was very lethargic. He didn't want to eat. He didn't want to drink. And I put him in the styrofoam box we have for him and for any of the cats that has straw in it so they could stay warm. And I figured, okay, well, I don't know what to do, but I'll have to start, figuring out he's got to come in because something's wrong. And he can't be out another night in the cold. And how do I isolate him from my guys? So I put up this big cat playpen on this bed, and I put a little tray with litter in it and a heating pad in a in a pillowcase and a towel around it. By the time I went back down, Tux had crawled back out of the shelter and was just like that loaf shape they do. just staring at the food bowl. So I tried giving him more food, but I even found one last thing of Sheba, which is kind of expensive, and I use that for when they have to take meds. So he wouldn't even eat that. He didn't even eat and drink any of the strawberry water, which I know he liked. He didn't. He got a couple of eyedroppers of that in, and that was it, and then would turn his head away. So I sat him down, and he kind of tried to growl. He didn't want to be put back down because he'd been sitting on across my knees. And this poor baby, he just looked up at me and then put his head down. And then when I wrapped him up in the towel to bring him inside, his head was starting to loll around. And I'm like, oh, he's given up. He's given up. And I got him in here, and I got him in the thing and laid on the heating pad, and he just kind of, when he was kind of tense, and then he felt the warmth from the heating pad and he just relaxed, and I made sure his head was up and not crunched down, so that had the towel working as a pillow, and he licked my hand. And I said, okay, well, I need to find an emergency vet number that I can call and ask, is there anything? And I found one down in Delaware, and bless their hearts, they actually like advised me through the phone without having to charge me anything. But they told me that if he's not eating or drinking and he's to the point where he can't control his own head, then he's too far gone. And Tux was wheezing. And I noticed when I had picked him up to bring him in that he had a little bit of blood at the nose. And they told me that that's probably cat flu. I didn't realize there is such a thing. Apparently it's highly contagious. And in Delaware County and northern Delaware, it is hitting pretty hard, and they're seeing a lot of it. And it starts off with just sneezing and a runny nose, but it can very quickly go into their lungs. And they told me that if there was blood in the nose, then he probably already had blood clots in his lungs, and that there wouldn't have been anything they could have done. The time I got off the phone, came back upstairs, Tux was gone. He had crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And I just feel so bad because I couldn't find a home for him. And when the one shelter, they couldn't take him, but they only tested him for rabies. So I couldn't let him into the house without having him tested for, I mean, there's other transmittable illnesses out there. And I've got 5 indoor cats. I couldn't bring him in without having him tested. And we put every dime onto getting the roof fixed. So I had no extra. And I don't know where he caught it from, because the only cats that I've seen him around, because he usually doesn't leave our yard, is Frodo and Gimli made friends with him. The doctor made friends with him, and then Jack always comes, and they're all healthy. Knock on cardboard. But I did everything I could, and I want to thank my viewers, because, a lot of you have, over time, put in super chats or super thanks, and have gotten things off of the Amazon wish list for the kittens. And that's been a big help in trying to rescue these cats that occasionally come into my neighborhood. Because at this point now, I think I'm the only one left that's getting them any kind of veterinary care. And I can only do that through the one shelter. So, but they often don't have any space to take them and foster them because they're hurting for fosters as it is. But I want to thank you guys because it's not just me alone who gave Tux after he showed up in the beginning of June, so thin I could see his ribs and you could tell he wasn't big enough to be a year old yet. You guys helped me give him the best couple of months. And I want to thank you for that because not every cat I don't know if he was dumped. Probably that's happened before in my area. They see big single family houses and they dump unwanted litters. But he definitely had been a house cat and he knew he was loved. And I want to thank you for helping me over these last few months to take care of him. And I'm so thankful and so blessed. It really hit hard because he was such a sweet boy. But I know that when he crossed the Rainbow Bridge, my Cosette is probably on the other side, guiding him over because that was the best cat I ever had. And he was something else. But if you get a cat that answers to its name, and you already gave it a girl's name because somebody swore it was girl, and it wasn't, well, if it answers to the name, you leave it whatever you named it. So, but at least now Tux is where he's warm, where there's always food, and he's safe. So now we have Doctor is still out back. She will not. I thought I was going to get her in the night. Nope. She spends her nights in her little straw box. She'll come in the minute we get the first cold night and it rains. This happens pretty often in the summer. This is the longest though because she don't like being out in the rain. But we had no rain. We haven't had any sizable rain for well over a month. So she's quite happy. I watched her chasing leaves like a kitten from the kitchen window. And she was like jumping up to catch them. She's lost some of the extra weight she had. She's been very happy playing in the backyard. And she stays in the backyard unless she hears our car and she comes out front. So she'll come in for the winter. But and Snowball has a shelter on the lady behind us in Susan's house. Jack, however, I'm still working on trying to find anybody who will take him for vet care. But Aragorn now has the runny nose and the sneezes. So I spent this morning babying him, letting him sleep I put the heating pad underneath my wool blanket on my bed and had him in here sleeping. He slept off and on a fair bit today. His lungs still sound fine, but he's got the sneezies, so I think he may have picked it up. So we have a vet appointment for him on Monday. That's the first. That's the first we've been able to get. Was to, there's my drink. Was to get an appointment for him Monday, because, like I said, that's what I found out. The veterinary hospital that I called, this emergency thing, is down in Newark, Delaware. And so they said that it's all over northern Delaware. When I talked to the local vet that I go to, they said this cat flu is all over the place up here. And they're hearing reports of it all through southern Delaware County. So that's a problem. Because if left untreated, most healthy cats can get it and they're fine. But some cats, if there's stresses on the body or they're too young or too old, it can turn into, basically, I guess, like it does for humans, turns into like a pneumonia. So we're gonna get him looked at. Yeah, I mean, it just breaks my heart. We really didn't want to bring another one into the house. Um, but he definitely had been in a house, probably born in a house. And like Mike said, what's really sad is that where's the rest of the litter? He got lucky and he found me. Where's the rest of them that would have been there? Because usually when that happens, there's two or three. But people, that's how I got Cosette. Somebody dumped a litter, but they dumped one on my street, one over on Maury Street, another one over on Elkington. So they were only dropping one kitten per block, per street. And pills are hard to swallow. The only way we knew about that at the time was because we all ended up at the same vet. And he's like, funny, I just had two other people with cats that look just like this. Turns out that his opinion is that Cosette was part Turkish van, part Scottish fold. I think he just looked like a walking throw rug because he had 3-inch long fur on his sides and gorgeous Turkish van puffy tail. But he had very short hair on his legs and on his head and around the face. So it was all just this poof with legs. He looked like a walking throw rug. But the other cat, I did meet the lady with the other one that was over on Maury. Her cat looked like a Scottish fold, but it had this huge mane of hair. Now, Scottish folds have a very round face, and the ears flop down. Well, it had the ears, had the round face, but all around its neck and shoulders, giant puff of long hair, like a Turkish van would have, and it had the same puffy tail. And Turkish van, the tail has rings, almost like a lemur, that are orange and white, and it had that kind of tail. Now, from what I heard, the third kitten didn't fare as well because it had the long fur just on its legs. Now, can you imagine a cat that's short hair except for the legs? That poor thing. It must have looked so bizarre. So, we've always, and over the years, I usually would get pretty lucky and find a shelter that would take the kittens, but it's gotten so bad in this area that I know Forgotten Cats can take 602 cats and kittens. That's what they can have in their foster system. That's the max they can have. So they were at the max, and so they had no room for him. And by the time they could come get him, they were running out of funds. So all they did was test him for, where are you not getting in there? Oh, all they could do was test him for, what did they test him for? Oh, I don't know that they tested him for anything. They gave him his rabies shot. And then, why are you not letting me in? Yes, I am trying to sign in. Let me in. I am just having issues. Yeah, go away. What the heck? No. Apparently, I can't get into. What did we do? There we go. I took my laptop. So anyway, with the cats, we're gonna keep an eye on Aragorn. We're trying to keep him, warm and hydrated and everything. So we'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted about him. But Tux is in the yard with all the other loved family pets, and has a big stone over him right now, so that nothing will. I mean, he's down a ways, but we just wanted to make sure nothing disturbed him, so we got a big stone over him. And there's a reason I'll never read Stephen King's Pet Cemetery. My family bought this house in what, 1962? And there's been a lot of pets buried out there. No, I will never read Pet Cemetery. No, 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 no. So, we, yeah, I still get melancholy. It's still a little rough for me. But the other ones are doing well. Come on, phone, don't act up. Why am I hearing my own voice? There. Turn that off. Like I said, I'm just not. I was so late getting back. I wasn't home yet at 9:30. We still were at her house. So I had to change the time from 10 to 11 and just put a message in. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm late. I did bring back some more stuff from her place. We still haven't figured out how 2 tables went missing that were stored at her place. That's a little odd, but I went out to the beginning of the week. I went out to my friend's house again, and I have to sort this out because she gave me some postcards to sort out and sell for her. And the cool part is some of these are early NASA. What is this? The Army Martin Pershing 2-stage ballistic missile. Isn't that cool? There's a couple of NASA ones here. Back when it was still John F. Kennedy Space Center. This is because she was a kid when they lived there. This is the Apollo 8 lunar orbit. The astronauts are Bormer, Lovell, and Anders. First men to orbit the moon, December 1968. What's going on with my phone? I keep getting a black screen on my side. I don't know why. It's never done that before. But isn't that cool? So I don't know. She has some prices that she found for them, but I have to look them up and didn't decide if they should be as one lot, or because all these Space Center ones probably. This one goes this way. That's the old launch pad from the 60s. They should probably all stay together and go as one lot. But I thought they were pretty darn cool. So I have these. And these will end up in the eBay store. Probably as a group together. But where is the one? That's the bag of just randoms. This isn't the bag I wanted, but there's a lot of how often do you see those kind of boats anymore? This is a Walt Disney one. Cruising the Rivers of America. Do they still have that cruise down there? This one is from Nassau. But where is the one? Because I don't think we have any train buffs, because I had that stuff in the sale that was trains. Where, oh, where did you go? There are some very cool kitty cat ones. Garden Cypress, Clockwork Locomotive, Sunset in Miami. Where did you go, our little kitty? Now, there are some Mainzer postcards. Dang it. What are you doing? I don't understand why this keeps turning itself. Auto rotate. Do not disturb. We'll put that on. I don't know why it keeps turning itself off. It's never done that before. But these are Alfred Mainzer anthropomorphic cards. Different kitties doing stuff. And I've started doing some research on these guys. And of course, my paper is not where I can get to it. Alfred Mainzer was the printer, but they were originally painted by, I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Hurrig. He was Swiss. I like the one of the tailor. These are pretty cool. These usually go, the prices for these are all over the place because it really does depend on what they are. This one's like Picasso. He's an artist. And I like this one because I have Boy Scouts that are fabulous at table tennis. And that's what they're doing. So certain ones that show certain sports or certain activities can go for a lot more. And you can date them based on where they're printed, because some of these are printed in Belgium, which means they would have been the second printing. And then there's other ones that are printed in Switzerland, which would have been the first printing of these kind of cards, because that's where they originally were. Oh, these were the ones I was. Alfred Mainzer also, you'll recognize some of these cards as soon as I show them to you. Gotta get them out of the bags. Because I know you've seen me. Stop doing that. Why is it? Some setting on my phone must have changed. It keeps trying to turn itself to go to sleep. When it does that, it's stopping everything else. Let me get these to where I can get them out. And here we go. These guys. But I had them all in one together. There they are. So I know, those of you who've been with me for a long while, you've seen some of these. These are also Mainzer, but the artists for these, they are Thor Geiger. These are the original ones before Mainzer, Alfred Mainzer got the rights to print them for in the US, where they have the black background but have the really cool image. I mean, it really makes those holly berries pop out. And it's a matte finish, but it is, I think, a linen card. It's hard to tell because I don't see too many lines. But then there's like this one. See how cool? I mean, it really makes the red and the whites really stand out with having that black background. This one has mistletoe and candles. What's the white flower? Not sure what the white flower is. Well, this one's similar to the other, I think. Don't you do that. Don't. Oh, no! What did you do? What did you do? Go back to stream. We there? We're there. I think that's the same as the other one. This one's really nice. And then there's this one. I have a couple of these. Most of these I don't have. I do know I have this particular one. And I have it framed in a little frame so it's this way. And I have them so in little gold frames. I want to change them to silver. And I have a couple of these that I put when we used to be able to get to the fireplace. At Christmas time, I would put these little framed ones like this up, and they'd be across the mantle, and then I'd have like other little decorations around them. But it gives you a neat way to, especially with having cats. Once we started having cats in the house, I couldn't bring in, like, the dogs would leave it alone, but I couldn't go and cut fresh holly and have those berries in the house because I didn't want to risk the cats eating them. So I found a better way to do it. I have these vintage pictures that I have framed of, I have holly berry. I have, I'm not a big fan of poinsettias, but I've got holly berry. I've got a couple with pine cones of different types. And what's the other? Variegated holly is in one of them, which is unusual because that's not something you find too often. But once I find out the price for these, I'll find out whether these are coming to you. Stop trying to turn yourself off. Or whether these have to go online, because these are a commissioned thing for me. But there's a bunch of them that are little kitties. Isn't that cute? But these, again, they were Alfred Mainzer. But I don't know who the photographer. These were printed in Belgium. Because up to from the 40s to 1955, they would be printed in Switzerland, and they would have the name on it of who the artist was. But once it got past 1955, now see, this one has the name down there for an artist. And look at these little sweeties. Aren't they so cute? So this is one of the earlier ones. So I'm finding out that it makes a big difference. So, oh, look at this spicy fellow. He's spitting at somebody. So these may be in a next sale, or we'll see. It just depends. Since it is a commission, I have to do right by her. Mainzer, New York. So this would have been from, they say New York. He split into Spain, Belgium, and New York printing. This doesn't have a street address. Oh, yes, it does. New York 16th. That's 16th Street. So this would have been 1955 to, I think, 1962. That's a beautiful portrait one. Because that's a painting. And I think the signature in the corner, I think, says Babington. That's a painting. Isn't that beautiful? That's the kind you frame. Nice little portrait of a kitty. absolutely adorable. So this one reminds me of Jack, except this one has both its eyes. But that is what one-eyed Jack looks like. But Jack, when he looks at you, he's missing this eye. And that needs to get fixed. But it's the right kind of the white feet and white on the chest and gray tabby on top. This looks a lot like Jack, who is the one I'm worried about now because he's still not fixed. He gets into fights, and he's shown up with a wound on his shoulder. He showed up with that tonight. So he did let me, I didn't have much time, so I just grabbed a wet paper towel and basically tried to clean it up the best I could without getting his fur soaking wet. And so it's for the amount of blood that looked like that was in his fur. It's just a tiny little slit. It's not like, a big chunk was missing or anything. It's just happened to hit at a spot, I guess, where it did just put out a lot of blood. So he's still so terrified of people. He's not ready to even go into a foster yet. I don't know if he ever will be. I can pet him. He's been coming around for 2 years now. I can pet him. That's it. He won't go near Mike. He lets Mike get about 3 feet away. That's it. If Gary is coming out to feed him, Gary can get maybe 1 or 2 little bit on the head and then gone. So he's unfortunately what they would consider not adoptable if he can't tolerate, being touched or other people. And so far, it's only me. I can pick him up. I can't cuddle, can't hold, but I can pick him up and move him, if he's trying to filch from somebody else's bowl. But we've done well this summer. I mean, we got Tux taken care of. There were 2 kittens that showed up really early in the year, and actually managed to find somebody who took them. I just don't know. Some setting has somehow changed in this phone, and it keeps wanting to, your phone goes dark when you're not using it. So something has switched. Probably one of the times that I had the settings open and I suddenly had a cat in my arm. So that's there's really not, I just feel wiped out because I feel like I've been just on the go all week, and the weekend was just a total loss because I lost Tux and I just spent most of Saturday night. I cried. Who wouldn't? All of us out there that have had pets or have worked with fosters or worked with a cat colony, which ones are the really sweet ones. And, I tried, and I try not to feel like I failed him, but I did the absolute best I could with the circumstances I have. So at least I know his final moments. He's known for months he was loved, and he's got to spend his final moments warm and cared for. So now we just keep an eye on Aragorn, and we get. I want to get One-Eye Jack. If they still have any funds left from the grant for Cats from Chester, see if they can get his eye fixed and get him neutered. And as for me, it's just this. There's been so much going on. We have Eagle projects. We have an Eagle Court of Honor for another kid. The run through for that happened, and Mike keeps thinking, he says, I think something's on the schedule for tomorrow, but I can't remember what. And I don't know what either. I can't think of anything. I don't have anything written on my calendar in my notebook. But it's been like that all week. I've been here, there, and everywhere ever since I got home from the mini farm. So, and I haven't really gotten a chance to do much in my own house. Oh my goodness. I came home to a sink that was absolutely filled with dishes. So the first thing I ended up doing wasn't even unpacking. It was doing dishes. Oh, so I haven't worked on getting stuff listed. I haven't worked on getting your stuff together. It's just been, I was only gone for 2 days. How? And it's not Michael's mess. It's not from Michael. It's from Gary. I think he waited till I left to then decided to clean all the dishes out of his room. He's very passive aggressive, and my brother has that too, an art form. But yeah, that sink was. There were some pans. There were 2 pans where I heated stuff up too fast and I scorched around the edge, so they had to soak. So they were soaking when I left, but when I came back, it was completely full. So yeah, I've been just bouncing around, and then I knew I had other things to do, and a meeting with another kid working towards Eagle, and another kid for a merit badge for another troop, and I will be so glad when we get to the end of this month and the tree lot starts and I don't have to worry about weekends anymore for scouts. It'll all be done. So I thank you all for just stopping in. Like this chat tonight wasn't going to be a long one because there's been no progress on the house. There's just been sad news to give with cats. The good news is I do now have a drill, like a proper power drill that you plug into an extension cord. And my sister and my brother-in-law have some pieces of drywall that are small pieces, so that'll work because there's some other spots in the house. Like they wanted to throw them away, and I said, well, if you don't want them, we'll come back out and get them with Michael's SUV. And so that's great because that means there's other little things I can fix and just screw the drywall in. I'm not a big fan of drywall, but it has its uses. And so everything, though, I look at it this way, is that other than this itty bitty box of postcards and 3 more boxes of books from my sisters, nothing else has come into the house. I didn't go buy anything. I didn't go to the Goodwill. I did. They took me to Tractor Supply. I've never been. And they had some cool stuff, and they had some nice stuff on sale. So I picked up a few little things
for Christmas because I'm going to, these two don't watch my channel, so it's okay, I could say it. I'm going to make Christmas stockings. I'm going to fill Christmas stockings for Mike and for Gary, and that'll be their Christmas present. So I did manage to find a few things that I think they'll like. I was real surprised. The prices at Tractor Supply. The prices for cat food at Tractor Supply, if I'd had enough funds, I probably would have bought a couple of bags, big bags of dry cat food because it's the same brand. You know, it was for usually it's 9 Lives or Friskies, but for that big, what is it, 32-pound bag or whatever it is, the great big ones, which I can't lift, but I would have to have Michael or would have had Leslie have to move it for me. They were, because Mike and I were stopped at the grocery store quick on the way home, and I looked at the price, and they were $7 a bag cheaper at Tractor Supply than they were at the grocery stores near me. And that's including the Walmart. That's including the Walmart. So, man, I wish I had one of them nearer to me instead of being, over an hour away. Never, ever would have thought of going to a Tractor Supply, which is basically, a feed store, and that's where she bought her chickens from in the spring. And I never would have thought of there for cat or dog food. But if you have a cat or a dog and you have one of those near you, check them out and check out the prices. There were some things that it was the same or a little bit higher, but for the most part, for the stuff for the feed, it definitely was $7 a bag less is $7 more you could put on canned food. And even their canned food was, I think I looked at it and figured it out that the cans of Friskies were 12 cents a can cheaper than what I pay in my area. And it was 9 or 8 for Purina. I think it came out to being like 8 or 9 cents a can cheaper for that one. So that was a learning curve. That was a real surprise. So if you have Tractor Supply near you, or a weed and feed store, or a feed store, you might want to check one out one day. If you have pets or have a colony of pets, a colony of cats that you're taking care of, or helping with, or donating to help with, see if you've got a feed store near you and see if they have cat and dog food, because I was really surprised. Because think about it, over a course of a year, if you could save $7 a bag of those big bags, and you're going through one of those every 2 weeks, there's how many weeks in a year? 52. So that's a fair amount of money. That's a lot of money over the course of a year to me. It all adds up if you look at it in terms of a whole year. So, that's next time I go, we're going to have to plan. They also had a grocery outlet. That's what it's actually called. It's called Grocery Outlet. I've never heard of them. I'd never been in one. The closest thing we have around us to a grocery outlet kind of thing is we have a Big Lots, but that's closing, and there isn't another one anywhere near. And the other one is Ollie's, but Ollie's is more stuff than it is groceries. This grocery outlet is more groceries than it is stuff. And I texted Mike and said, send me the shopping list off the kitchen refrigerator. And so Wednesday, before she brought me back, I got to go grocery shopping. And I ended up saving $111 because I was able to pick up stuff a lot cheaper. And I even had meat and ground turkey, and I came home with a pound of ground lamb because I've wanted to try to cook with that forever. If you have a recipe of what to do with that, send it to me. Otherwise, I'm going to be digging through some old cookbooks trying to find a recipe. But I haven't had it other than I'm being at a Turkish restaurant once, long time ago. But the price was fantastic and it's good quality. So, the fresh produce was good because the fresh produce was all odd sizes or odd shapes. And so it was so much cheaper. So, I wish I could buy top dollar cat food, but that's out of my price range. So I do know there's some we just won't. There's some, like Walmart has one, it's a kind of like the store brand. And 3 out of the 5 threw it up. Meow Mix is just empty calories. It's like kitty crack. They can't eat enough of it, but then they're always hungry for it. And when we looked it up, it's like they don't have a good track record of it being that nutritionally good for your cat, let alone safe. So, we've had to do 9 lives or Friskies. One thing I do make sure of, though, is that they always have to have water. I've always done this, and most of my cats live to be anywhere from 18 to 22, is that when I give them wet food, I make sure that there's some water mixed up in it first. And that always seems to help because often cats that eat a lot of dry food don't get enough water, and it can affect their kidneys over time. And so you really do have to be mindful of that. But I would love to be able to buy top dollar cat food. We're not to that point yet where my finances are that good. But we're getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely. I did drop another box of stuff off at Goodwill. I wanted to drop them off. There's a church in Upland that I saw has a thrift shop, but it's only open the second and fourth Saturday of any given month, and I missed them. And I was tripping over the box, and I'm like, I cannot trip. If I mess up my back any more than it is, right now it doesn't have a flare up, and we don't want a flare up. So I just took the box to Goodwill. So, but, so the only other news for Tosh is that I have been reading books on trying to get it ready to where I make it more of an actual business. I have to get my reseller's license for PA because right now I'm under the amount that I would like they would consider it like flea market kind of thing. But I want to really kick it into high gear as we go forward. And to be on the safe side, then I might exceed that cap. So I need to see about getting that license in January. But what's the other one? One of the books was all about selling your crafts online. And so I started a notebook with little notes, and I've already started. Right now, my Etsy store is on vacation mode because it's been on that since I got sick when I had that really bad head cold. And I've already tweaked some things in there. I have to get some stuff listed You're going to see some of the fabric that didn't sell from the fabric sale and craft supplies. That'll all go onto Etsy. So I'm definitely going to make sure that my YouTube channel sales, you guys get your pick of whatever it comes out to. Now I will, as we get to have more space and can organize more stuff and actually get that office finished so I have shelving to put things on, I'll be able to curate the sales better so that it won't be so much of a mismatch. So it won't be craft stuff and knickknacks and collectibles. It won't necessarily all be mixed together so much, which I think works better if they're separate. Like if it's a night where it's going to be craft supplies, or it's going to be mostly ephemera type supplies, or whether it's going to be sewing and fabric, because that's a whole different market than it would be for porcelain or blown glass, or the fun odd little things like the baby shoes, the high button shoes that we found that were they would have been from Annie Al from when she would have been from about 1900. Those shoes would be the size for a 4-year-old, so it'd be from 1904. So you never know what I'm gonna find. So that I thought was a better way, because they do recommend that, and have a very clear division of what's going on Etsy and what's going on eBay. So I will have more of that going forward, but for you guys, you get to see it all most of the time first. There are some things I have a limit, like if it's something that I can start it over $20, or I don't feel it fits in for you guys, because it's not, you haven't shown that to be the market for it, then like when I find them, we have some of Michael's Pokemon toys from when Pokemon first came out. And those aren't necessarily something that my viewers here would want to see. So the game stuff, the pop culture stuff, a lot of that's going to go right onto eBay. So you guys won't see that. But everything else I usually bring to you first. So that's going to continue. And drop sales are going to happen more regularly as we can make more space. And but there's definite vision now. There's actually a mission statement written, and I've even got a flow chart of, well, this has to happen before you can get to this. So I actually sat down and figured out the timeline of which I've never done before in trying to struggle through this for 4 years. This is the stuff nobody ever tells you about before you start your YouTube channel and before you start reselling on YouTube. You actually need to have a plot line of how you want to get stuff done, what you want your focus to be, and they don't tell you of all the extra things you have to do besides sitting in front of the camera. That's the easier part. I was not quite prepared for all the rest and all the logs and all the accounting paperwork you have to do. So so we're getting that straightened out too. Definitely, I have a ledger book now, so it'll be a lot easier, because for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to work Excel. And this laptop doesn't even have Excel. So now I have a ledger book that's the layout that I need, that I didn't know what I needed because I've never had that. I mean, I had basic bookkeeping in high school. It has changed a lot since then. So reading these books on small businesses, and the one that was specific to Etsy, which I just finished and gave back to the library tonight, were a huge help in getting me more focused and understanding where I'm screwing up And I have high hopes for the coming months. And with any luck, we might see a Christmas sale, because I have gotten some things out of the way in the attic, and I think, fingers crossed, I think those 2 boxes that I can reach, I think, are Christmas stuff that need to get gone through. We might end up with a vintage Christmas sale. They wouldn't be Thanksgiving night, that's for sure. So it'll either be, I can't, next Thursday is the Thursday before Thanksgiving. That would be too soon. So it'll probably be the first Thursday of December. I might be able to have a Christmas sale. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, mind you, this isn't the good stuff of getting to my parents' stuff. Can't get to that yet. This is stuff I know is stuff of mine. But when in doubt, what do you get, Aunt Nancy, from all the nieces and nephews? Oh, get her Christmas stuff. Get her Christmas ornament. So I have a lot. I have a lot of Christmas ornaments. So I need to purge. I need to purge some of those, because there's a lot there. Definitely a lot there. So with any luck, we will have that the first Thursday in December. We'll have a Christmas sale. So I'm going to go and have this. I know this was kind of short and not as focused because there wasn't much to tell. It's just been playing that ping pong ball thing where I'm getting all these little things taken care of, but I'm like bouncing off the walls, metaphorically, not mentally this time, just physically. This had to be done here. This was here. This was here. This was here. So, but that's good. Stuff is getting done. Now, tomorrow, fingers crossed, I don't have to actually leave the house. Don't have to go anywhere. So I can focus on that packing list, getting stuff out to you, and Mike says he's cooking tomorrow. So I don't even have to worry about that. He says it's his turn. Let him. Let him. So yeah, so watch for invoices coming this weekend, over the weekend. I would like to get at least 10 more boxes out of here and get at least 10 more items into that eBay store. I'm not ready to get the Etsy store reopened yet because there's no sewing machine currently working here. So I'm gonna have to figure out, measure the fabric and get that sorted out so that I can get that onto eBay. Onto Etsy, because I can't sew anything yet. Mike hasn't replaced the broken foot for his sewing machine. And my sewing machine is over there. And I had it rehabbed when I first inherited it in 1984. And I used it up until, well, when did Dad die? Dad died in 1996. And then more stuff had to come in here, so that had to get shut because I moved back. and it hasn't been open since then. So I don't know that my sewing machine, which is an old Singer from the 50s, I don't know that that will work at this point. It's been shut for an awful long time. So without having that, it's kind of hard to refill the Etsy store at the moment. I do have patterns that can go up, and now I have some fabric because no one claimed any of the fabric from last week's sale that hadn't sold during the sale. So there's some of that around. But that's the current news so far. I know it started off sad with having to let you know that Tux passed away. But life goes on. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and just do your best. Do the best you can. Sometimes that's all you can do. Do the best you can with what you've got. And you just keep doing that. You do it every day until, if you keep doing your best, then you're building more and more success. And that is not a bad thing, especially in a world where there's a lot of people wondering what's going to happen because of how the election turned out. And I have to admit, after being at Scouts on Wednesday night, I have a lot of very worried parents because some of them have been here for 10 and 12 years on a green card. They have their green card. They have their permission to work here. They've raised kids here. Some of them have had their kids here. And now they're afraid their family's going to be torn in half. I have a neighbor who's getting, if he's out front on his lawn, he's getting people just shouting at him from car windows. And he's an American citizen. They're from Puerto Rico. That's American territory. They're American citizens. So I'm seeing it just even with my neighbor. And then I go to Scouts, and there's some very concerned, worried parents about what happens if your child was born here, and because they're going to look at people with green cards too. One of them works for an international nonprofit, and her specialty, they didn't have anybody for, so that's why she's here, but her son was born here. Others, they're here because their spouses have been hired by universities to come in and teach, or one of them is a literally a brain surgeon. And so he's here on a work visa, and so they've been here 20 years. Both their kids are born here. So there's a lot of stress out there for various reasons and over various things. So just keep that in mind, that every day, just do your best with what you've got. This country's been through a lot. My ancestors were here when they started the revolution. So we got through that. We'll get through this. Americans are resilient and stubborn. Right now, we're being real stubborn with each other. We'll get through it. We have to. If we don't find a way to come together, we will not have a constitution in the country anymore. We need to find a way to actually talk to each other. So we'll get through it. It's just as chaotic as all the chaos of all this stuff crammed in this house from inheriting from 3 different people. But every day I find a little extra space, or I find a little bit more that can go. And in the last 24 hours, we've actually figured out something else that could go to Briggs Auction House. So that gets me one more thing closer to my 10. Yay, I have to have 10 either 10 box lots of stuff or 10 big things. It's got to be all, it's all got to be for commission sale. It's all got to be at least 10 items, whether it's a box lot, which is one item, or it's the Disney toy box that's upstairs, that's another item. But Michael came up with it, like, oh yeah, that could go. so yeah. So that was only like 10 minutes before this started. So that was another good thing. Focus on the good things. Do what you can with what you got. Do your best each day. Be kind to one another, and have a great weekend. There's areas in this country that are getting dumped on with snow. Other places have had some more hurricane threats. And in my own state, about an hour's drive from here, Blue Mountain is still on fire. Blue Mountain has a ski resort that the Scouts usually have gone to in the past to go skiing in February. I don't know that our ski trip is going to happen now because the mountain is on fire. Last I heard, it's still on fire, and it's getting dangerously close to the town. So if you could spare a prayer for Blue Mountain in Pennsylvania, please send them one. So that shows you just how dry it's been on this end of the state. It is just tinder out there. There is a ban right now on even having a fire in your fireplace in southeast Delaware County, because it's just, everything is just so dry, and the leaves are all dropping and they're bone dry, and the grass is all dead because there's been no water. It's died back. So if you have a moment to send a prayer, please do. So, as I will send a prayer out for all of you as well and wish you well. I know this isn't the usual, like I said, the usual chat as we've had in the past. Next week will be a sale. Like, don't know what yet, but there will be a sale. And next week it should be able to start at 10. It should be able to start at 10 o'clock. And I hope to see you all then. And normally I do say like and subscribe, but I get it. I mean, if this week's conversation chat wasn't quite what it usually is, but it's just been such a roller coaster of a week. Even getting this started turned into a roller coaster when the arm to hold the camera fell over. So that just shows you what my week's been, exactly like that. So here's to a better weekend and a better week next week. I will see you next Thursday for a live sale. And I hope, even if you have no intention of buying, come join us. Come join in the chat. And maybe I'll throw in playing some trivia again, because we had some fun with that. So maybe I'll throw in a trivia question after selling one or two items, showing one or two items again. So have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you in a week. I'm hoping not for this weekend, because there's just too much going on. There is a very large, have to get it finished this weekend, Eagle Scout project. That's all day Saturday, part of Sunday, and then Sunday night is the Eagle Scout Court of Honor for two other scouts who've already made their Eagle. This is when they have the ceremony to get their pins and to be actually given the rank. So this weekend is totally scout filled for me, except for tomorrow. So there won't be a drop sale popping up on Sunday this week, but I want to have a book one set to go for next weekend, because I still have that pile of boxes of books that's as tall as I am in the playroom, and that has to get dealt with. So there will be a drop sale coming up in 1 week on a Sunday. It'll get dropped so that it's a book sale. Okay, so keep that in mind. That'll be coming up soon. See you. Good night.